Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at noon.
The Grand Forks area is drying out from about 4 inches of rain last night. That has the city warning people to stay out of floodwaters overnight. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us. I'm Christine Stanwood. Grand Forks police are advising no travel within city limits because of street flooding. Police are also advising any stranded motorists caught in areas of flooding to stay into their vehicles until help arrives. Well, as for here in Fargo, it's a cloudy one out there and streets are still fairly damp. Let's send it right over to meteorologist Robert Hahn for a look outside. Robert?
Yeah, it has been a soggy one for parts of the valley, particularly up in the northern valley from northwestern Minnesota back towards Stutzman and Barnes County. A lot of rain yesterday into last night, even earlier this morning, and you saw the video from Grand Forks. They got anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of rain, and some locally even higher amounts. And we saw those problems of flooding not only in the Grand Forks area, but back towards Findlay and back into Barnes and Stutzman County as well. Right now, temperature-wise, it's not a very warm one out there. A mix of 50s, 60s, and even some 70s, 74 degrees down in Sisseton. Those winds primarily calm to rather light out of the north and northwest. And we do still have some reduced visibilities in a few locations, including here in Fargo, with a visibility of 6 miles. Quite a bit of cloud cover out there, and we'll see that most of the day. Underneath those clouds, not a whole lot going on, but later today, a chance for a few showers and storms in our southeastern counties. 1 or 2 of those could be on the strong side. More on that, as well as a look at the rest of the next 7 days, coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Robert. And as a reminder, you can stay up to date on the weather conditions where you are anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just download the Storm Team Weather app to get the latest weather conditions and even follow the radar live. Just search VNL Weather in the App Store. Post-tropical storm Hermine is expected to slam the northeast with powerful waves and coastal flooding today as the storm lingers in the Atlantic. The Labor Day weekend has been a wash for beachgoers hoping to swim. Many beaches along the coast have red flag warnings posted, meaning people are not allowed to get into the water. Beaches in New York have closed this morning, and over in New Jersey, lifeguards will reassess conditions to see if swimmers can get back into the water. New for you at noon, Carson Wentz has officially been named the Week 1 starter for the Philadelphia Eagles. Head coach Doug Peterson made the announcement earlier today. And on Saturday, the Eagles traded away Sam Bradford to the Minnesota Vikings for draft picks, which then opened the starting quarterback spot for Philadelphia. According to an ESPN report, Peterson said that he told the team about the decision and the players bought in. The Eagles open the season September 11th at home against Cleveland. 5 people are hurt after a head-on crash in the Northern Valley. The North Dakota Highway Patrol says a car driven by Candence Charbonnet of Langdon crossed the center line of Highway 1 last night and hit a pickup. All 5 people in her car were injured. The pickup was driven by Wayne Borgden, also of Langdon. No one in his car was hurt. And 3 people were injured in a 2-car crash last night in West Fargo. It happened at Main Avenue and 9th Street East. Police say a woman was turning onto 9th Street when her car was broadsided by a man driving on Main Avenue. The woman and 2 passengers were transported to Essentia Hospital and are expected to be okay. News that Jacob Wetterling's remains were found has sent a shock through the state of Minnesota, where so many had been holding their breath, hoping for a different outcome. Wetterling was 11 years old when he was kidnapped in 1989. Ellery McCardle reports.
For decades, the Wetterling home has projected a feeling of hope. The family's porch light is still on, a sign for Jacob to come home. Now neighbors are sending their own messages of hope to the family, a hope that they'll stay strong as they've learned Jacob's remains were found and he won't be coming back.
I mean, I've heard about him my whole life, and just finally hearing that he's found is, I just don't know what to say.
Throughout the day, neighbors and strangers have stopped by to lay flowers, letters, and their own signs of faith. The community's bond with the Wetterlings is even more great, but at the same time stirring up memories of Jacob's disappearance 26 years ago.
I found out I was pregnant that year that Jacob was kidnapped.
I had children about that same age,
When I come home from work, I made sure they were home.
Call it a memorial or just a sign of compassion. The community of St. Joseph hopes and prays for peace for the Wetterlings and those still waiting for missing loved ones to come home.
I hope they find happiness.
Twin bombings near the Afghan Defense Ministry in Kabul killed at least 24 people in an attack claimed by the Taliban today. A public health ministry spokesman said another 91 people were wounded in the attack. An Interior Ministry spokesman said a district police chief and 5 other police officers were among those killed. A Taliban spokesman said his group had carried out the attack. The insurgents have been fighting to overthrow the U.S.-backed government for 15 years and frequently target Afghan security forces. A Nebraska family struck by tragedy in June was surrounded by hundreds of supporters over the weekend. Friends, neighbors, and strangers gathered to remember Lane Graves. That was the young boy who was killed by an alligator during a family vacation to Disney World just a few months ago. The family wanted to keep things positive by honoring Lane and releasing 5,000 balloons. Each one of the balloons was donated by an anonymous donor.
Lane and Ella used to say to their mommy and daddy that they loved them up to the sky and down to the grass. So I've taken the liberty as I close by saying, Lane, Ella, we love you up to heaven and down to the grass. Happy birthday, buddy. We miss you, LT.
Lane would have been 3 years old on Saturday. A Minnesota man who was shot and killed by police in July was laid to rest over the weekend. Loved ones gathered to remember Falando Casteel in St. Louis, Missouri. Casteel was born in St. Louis and still has family in the area. Casteel was shot and killed by a Minnesota police officer during a traffic stop. His death sparked nationwide protests and prompted lawmakers to look at gun control laws.
No one else needs to be Valerie Casteel. And what I'm doing is working closely with legislatures to try to make that happen. Amen. And I just want to appreciate everyone that has come out and supported Falando.
The family held services in Minnesota a few weeks ago, where more than 3,000 people came out to pay their respects. Coming up on Valley News Live at noon, it's called the Christmas Creep. And even though it's Labor Day, we learn what some stores are offering customers who are eager to cash in on early deals. But next, we take another look at weather to plan your day.